Hi everyone, welcome to another Escapement Show. Hope you're all doing well. Yeah, how have you been keeping? How's everyone? How are you doing, JCB?
Yeah, really well, mate. Thanks very much, Thomas. Great to be here. And yeah, just Saturday night in Melbourne, just unwinding, and great to be with you guys, having a chat and having a drink, and usual, Saturday fortnight with you guys. Been looking forward to it. Yeah, all good.
Good to see you. How's my friend Abdul R Watches? Check out his YouTube channel, guys. Abdul R Watches. You doing well? Good. And Jonathan Quell Higgins III. How are you, my friend?
Doing very good. I'm particularly happy to see Jean-Claude Biver energized, just like he's never during the week. So the weekend works miracles for him. Looking good, and I hope that everybody's okay.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think we've got a bit of lag on Abdul's end and his internet. Yeah, sorry about that. We've been having trouble with this. That's why we had a late start. We've got a bit of trouble there, so guys. So if you can bear with us and hope that Abdul can sort it out and come back, because we need Abdul. Yeah.
Abdul, come back.
Abdul, come back. Come back.
Just want to shout out to everyone joining us in the chat.
Yeah, shout out to the guys in the chat.
If you're watching this later as well.
Kevin Hawthorne from Lake Delaland, Florida. Hope you're doing well, Kevin. Russell 996. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I'm not saying hello to Russ because he will land a punch very soon against me. So
I hope to see Russ, and I hope to see him in London when we go to London. Yeah, okay. When we go to. Yeah, I hope to see that, Russell, or somewhere nearabouts in London when we're in London.
And join your favorite YouTubers, but I won't be there, unfortunately, Thomas. So not
JCB.
Sure. It might be a bit misleading, that statement. Anyway, you'll be there, so I guess that means something for it.
Good to see you, Judy Johnson, my friend. Always a pleasure. And hope you enjoy the show. And,
we're not really YouTubers, though. I don't count myself as a YouTuber. Who are the YouTubers, quote unquote, who are going to be there, Thomas? I'm just interested.
Morning, Jim. Yeah, Jim from we always see you in the chat on Watches Tonight on a Monday with Tim Mosso. So it's great to see you in our chat. Good man, Jim.
Good to see you, Jim.
Great to see you. So yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about Patek Heuer and the neo vintage Patek Heuer. I mean, Heuer was started in 1860 between 1933 is Abdul back. You okay? You all right now, Abdul? You got some audio?
Yeah, hopefully now it's working.
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, between 1933 and 1958, an era opened with Heuer, having a catalogue of stopwatches and pocket chronographs, but only limited selection of wrist chronographs. Over the next few decades, Heuer became more involved on motorsports and vastly expanded their range of wrist chronographs to become a world leader in these instruments. And in 1985, saw Heuer change the company name to Tag Heuer when Technique d'Avant-Garde, or TAG as we know them, who were well known for their high-tech products, acquired the Heuer company. In 1999, leading French luxury goods group LVMH, Moët Hennessy, Louis Vuitton acquired Tag Heuer, and the Arnault family control the massive LVMH conglomerate. One of the sons of Bernard Arnault, the head of the Arnault family, is Frederick Arnault, who spearheaded the recent revival of Tag as CEO, but has now been made LVMH's new CEO of watches. So all their brands, LVMH brands. And ex-CEO of Zenith, Julien Tourneau, is taking over as CEO of Tag Heuer. So all of that by the by, I wanted to focus on the 1980s, 90s, and 2000 era of Tag Heuer, basically. So the neo vintage, as we consider it now, and that was a time for me when I found the major brands that people mentioned and aspired to own during the time were basically Rolex and Tag Heuer. They were the main brands that people seem to mention. Well, when I was in my teens and in the
Omega
90s.
well.
Omega, of course, yeah, Omega, yeah. In my 90s, Tag was such a huge influence. I mean,
100%,
everyone knew Rolex as a luxury brand, and Tag was the sort of first brand to buy to get into the hobbies that they aspired to. Sort of a gateway brand in a way. And at this time, Tag and other brands were hit hard by the invention of quartz movements, so embraced these cheaper to manufacture battery-powered movements, ironically, that could be sold profitably at much lower prices. And many customers knew the Heuer name, and Tag was a big sponsor in motorsports, so were attracted by the marketing. Not necessarily by the chronographs, but ironically, many of the dive watches were marketed as well. They actually got into the dive watch segment and started to produce dive watches for the first time, which I remember I made my brothers when I'd be about 15 or so. He was at college with my brother and my older brother, and he had this Tag Heuer 2000, and I thought it was the bomb. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was amazing, and he was sort of like 18, and he was wearing this Tag, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's something else, I was so blown away by it. I don't know whether you have any. Do you have any?
So I'll show you if you can indulge me for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Thomas. So, actually, before we get on to that, did you ever bite the bullet? Did you ever purchase a Tag Heuer?
Well, we'll get into that. Yeah.
So this was 1992. My parents shipped me off and sent me to boarding school, and as a sort of a going away present, I think to sweeten the deal, to stop me from fucking complaining and bitching about the whole situation, they sent me off with this watch as a parting gift. So it was the Formula One black with hot pink. Okay, on a Jubilee bracelet, like this exact watch, this configuration
Yeah.
here. So this was the first, you know, luxury watch that I got when I was 12 years old, and it's like you're looking at it going, oh, black and pink, that's a bit girly, that's a bit weird, but and it's not a watch that I would have bought for myself. I think my dad must have got it from the specials bin at the airport or something like that. And I tell you what, it was the coolest watch. I wore
Yeah.
that. Oh man, it was so cool. Like the pink was awesome. I loved it. It was such a cool watch, and that was really got me into the bug of, you know, of watches. And I mean, I was into watches before, but you know, 12 years old and you get a watch like that, it was all over. Like I was a watch guy forever from this watch, and I wore the shit out of this thing every day. Like I wore it nonstop. Like I'd slept with it. And at the end of, you know, my school years, when I was sort of, you know, 18-ish, that watch was beat to shit. It looked absolutely terrible. Like it was, you know,
Yeah.
like you see them now on eBay, these Formula Ones, and they look absolutely disastrous. The ones from the 80s. A lot of it's got to do with the bezel because it's a plastic, or you know, it's
Yeah.
Kevlar.
The numbers can wear off. Yeah.
It's just painted on. You know, they're not very good quality watches, but when they're new and they're straight out of the box, they're awesome. They're really cool. So
And Jim's with us. I mean, he says I turn a black dial Heuer. Tag was the brand that got many of us hooked on watches. Exactly, Jim. I mean,
100%.
That's so
Yeah.
what got me into thinking about the title of the show and the topic, and it really was a brand that got us into a lot of different watches. I mean,
So then, speaking of,
absolutely.
you mentioned the 2000, Thomas, and so from that Formula One, I graduated onto this guy here. So this is the 2000. It's called the Exclusive Series automatic chrono. So this was basically the top of the range diver that you could get from Tag Heuer at the time. 750 base caliber, but yeah, I mean, this was the, you know, I thought this was just the bee's knees when I was about, you know, 20 years old. Or
Was that automatic or was it quartz?
Automatic. So this is the automatic. So this is the
right.
So, yeah, so this is the top of the range sort of diver that you could get from Tag Heuer at the time. I think I picked this up maybe in around the year 2001, 2002.
Right. Okay.
Around then, yeah, and again, yeah, I wore the crap out of this watch, and yeah, I thought I was, I thought I was King Dick rocking around with this big, flashy Tag Heuer automatic watch, and so yeah, these were the two Tag Heuers that I had, and these were the early ones. You know, these were the ones that got me started off in the hobby, and yeah, I had many memories. I actually got married in that watch.
Right. Wow.
So yeah, yeah, Tag Heuer, you know, close to my heart. I like the brands. I like the brand. I like I had, you know, good memories with these watches, and so, you know, when people sort of beat up on Tag, I'm like, oh, take it easy. You know, they're pretty cool. You know?
We got a good friend Orange Hand saying, always good to see Orange Hand. They're saying, hey guys, had a very similar Formula One that my folks gave me in high school. I still have it, in fact. Yeah, I mean,
awesome. Yeah.
We recently
I sold mine. Fuck, I sold it. I'm spewing. I sold it.
We recently had that renaissance with Kith and the Kith Heuer Formula One, where the owner of Kith said he was a tag collector and he collected the Formula Ones, so he wanted to reissue the Kith, but the Kith Heuer, and they went for astronomical prices for a 35mm watch. You know, they went for £1,500, sort of thing, $1,500.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But yeah, I mean, they sold out straight away. They sold out in days.
Yeah.
So the context is very important from the 1980s, because 1980s computer science or the entire internet or artificial intelligence, that was not the high-end technology. The high-end technology in the 1980s was symbolized by Formula One. They used the titanium parts, all the crazy tech, all the crazy engineering, and TAG developed a Formula One engine together with Porsche. TAG, Technique d'Avant-Garde, had their logo on the successful Formula One cars.
Yeah.
And so there was no coincidence that they called this particular watch the Formula One, because that showed we are the leaders of the technology. And the genius from for the Formula One was that was a time when the Swatch just came up. But the Swatch was regarded
Right.
as being plastic garbage for the masses.
Yeah.
Totally machine produced, and Tag Heuer had a product that was positioned far higher in terms of pricing. They had those metal cases, contrary to the Swatch. They also had that separate movement. So it was a high-end Swatch for the masses, and that was a genius product placement or product positioning, and that gave this particular watch a lot of success.
Yeah.
Well, everyone wanted one, you know.
Exactly.
Everyone wanted one in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, you know.
Yeah.
All...
So I'll crack on with some of the watches that I wanted to show, and so I've got quite a few to get through. And the 1000 series. Now, the 1000 series of dive watches came to a pivotal point for Heuer. By the late 70s, the majority of the brand's successful mechanical chronographs, powered by the caliber 12 movements, had been discontinued as the quartz crisis took hold, and Heuer still remained dominant in the stopwatch and timing business. So, especially with the new styles of electronic timers, and sales of these timepieces kept the company afloat through the 1970s. With sales of chronographs declining, however, it was clear that Heuer needed a new line of watches in order to survive difficult industry and economic conditions. And the answer for Heuer came in the form of a dive watch. But its launch was low-key. And Heuer experimented with several quartz diving watches in the late 1970s, some of which only lasted a few months or years in production. But one of these stood out, and the reference 844 dive watch. And the 844 formed the basis for what would become the Heuer and then Tag Heuer 1000 professional series. And from the 1000 series came the 1500 series, the 2000, the 3000, the 4000, the 6000 series. For almost 20 years, these watches dominated the Heuer and Tag Heuer catalogues and came to define the brand's look. But it was the 1000 series that laid the groundwork for this entire generation of dive watches. So I'll just pull up some.
Yeah, the 1000 was the entry drug into higher end watches. And I remember a lot of clients were asking for a watch that doesn't cost as much as a Rolex. A Seiko back then would have been a quartz watch, and so to have a mechanical watch in a moderate price range, we sold a lot of those 1000 series. Actually, I think this is an aftermarket strap, because I remember if you find the Rolex Oyster buckle and strap cheap and tuna can you have never seen an original Tag Heuer 1000 series bracelet, because those were very inferior compared to a Rolex Oyster bracelet.
So this is the 5th generation of the 844. It's the 1000 professional automatic 844/5. And this goes for 1,700 used on eBay. I pulled all these images off eBay because it seems to be the only place that I can really track a lot of these
well, it's good because
watches.
And I'm very grateful for that, Thomas, because you can tell us what the sort of the value and the market value is of these at the moment. So that's really cool.
Yes, there's 1,700 you get one of these for. I mean, as I say, this is the 5th generation 844. I'll come on to the 844, I'll return to the 844 later on, but I'll pull up a next one of the 1000 series, which is this one, the 1000 Professional Reference 984.013B. This is made from 1987 to 1991, and was the piece worn by Leonardo DiCaprio in The Wolf of Wall Street. Again, it's quartz, gold-plated, and there's a collector's piece now, fetching £2,295. So that is the came on, Jonathan.
I didn't get you. Not sure if it's my internet or yours. Can you repeat the question, please?
I just said that it's a Jubilee bracelet it came on.
Yeah, but I remember that they also had a different bracelet on this particular watch. So the Jubilee was also garbage. I mean, it lasted long, but the quality feeling when you had that watch in your hand was really cheap. But they worked, they lasted, and keep in mind those tags were probably a fifth of a comparable Rolex Submariner, and they could also be had with a mechanical movement. So it was a different price range. And it was still a quality product.
Yeah. Just like to say hi to the Watch Apprentice. Good morning, my friend.
Hey, buddy.
And Apes in the chat. Good morning.
Apes, what up?
Yeah,
it's interesting because sorry, Tom, just super quick. The Jubilee bracelet on the Formula One that I had, which I showed before, that was really like, I'm not going to say it was Rolex quality, but it was a great quality bracelet actually, and it was really comfy, and that's what got me hooked on Jubilee bracelets, was actually that
really
bracelet. Yes.
Yeah, really
if I remember correctly, the Formula One Jubilee bracelet was better than the Series 1000.
Yeah, it was a really good bracelet, super comfortable, quality. It was solid, great, unreal bracelet, I've got to say.
But it's interesting to see Tag Heuer being featured in movies of the time. I mean, we go from Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh. Man, they were in heaps of movies. I remember, I think it was Die Hard, maybe Die Hard 2. I think the one where they're at the airport. That film was full of Tag Heuer. Tag was sort of, they were hitting the product placement.
Well, we go to one of Jonathan's specialities, and this is the 1000 Professional Night Diver. This one was the original full loom dial, and it's going for £5,000 on eBay.
That's
others are listed for £849, So I don't know why this is special. But this is 38 mil, and the scene one at 35 mil as well. The quartz, and this one was won by James Bond.
Yeah, but the black one. There was a black one.
That was right, really.
By James Bond, yes. And an interesting thing is, I've been in the James Bond community very early on, and of course everybody knew me as the watch guy. And there was another watch guy from the US, and he asked me, "Do you know which watch that is in the Living Daylights?" And I told him, and he created a web page called JamesBondWatches.com. And he claims that he was the first to identify this particular watch and every other watch. And I'm always laughing because he's such a liar, and he gets many watches wrong. And he claims that he was the first to identify this particular watch after having asked me which watch it is.
That's funny.
So I can see that full loom dial on it.
Yeah, still, but the price is too high. I think they just going with the flow with all the flippers and the price increase of the pieces.
Yeah, as I say, Abdul, others are listed on eBay for £849, but this seller's gone balmy and is selling it for 5,000. So I've no idea what's going through his head or what he's smoking, but
yeah, really nice stuff that he's smoking.
Yeah. So just move on quickly through the 1000 series.
Thomas, allow me one remark. Tag Heuer dive watches were pretty unique in that price segment because back then in the day, Omega didn't have a true diver's watch. They were investing in that titanium. What was it called? Apollo or something like that. So their big thing was a two-tone titanium yellow gold quartz watch, which was not really a diver. If I remember correctly, back then Omega didn't have a proper diver until they came up with the Seamaster Professional.
Right. Interesting.
They had the Plo props though, didn't they?
The Plo prop,
yeah,
yes.
That'd be the 1970s that came out, didn't it? So this does another one, a Seamaster Professional. Oh, got me talking Seamaster Professional.
I got you.
The Tag Heuer 1000 Professional Black Coral, they call this, a PVD.
I like that.
38 mil, 200 meter water resistant, quartz again. I mean, all of these have been quartz we've seen so far.
Yeah.
No, but you could get them in quartz and in automatic. With most of the models, you had a choice.
£850 this one's going for. Comes on a black PVD Jubilee bracelet, which is slightly worn. So it's provided with a black NATO. You can just see the bracelet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see how worn the PVD is. All the PVDs totally worn off that since the 1980s.
Yeah,
so
I think it's more or less polished off. Somebody made the mistake to polish that or brush it.
Possibly, yeah. It's just a little bit left on there on the clasp, and a tiny bit on the in between of the where it hasn't rubbed off there.
Yeah, the brushing thingy doesn't touch those gaps, so that is why I assume that it has been brushed out afterwards.
Just
no big progress, I would say.
Yeah. That's what you call death diving marks.
But that black watch really looks still good by today's standards. I mean, shave off the crown guards and you have a pretty watch.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it looks really nice. I would wear that as my beater watch if it's like a quartz one, better than the new ones.
From 1981 to 84, this retailed for $345.
Yep.
This one.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a banger for a watch. This one, and notice all Tag Heuer watches, dive watches, have the copied Rolex using the Mercedes our hand. They all copied Rolex, and it's interesting that it's jumped on that bandwagon with the Mercedes hand.
Yeah.
This next one's an absolute beast, and it got me looking at it and thinking, I want to buy one of those. But this one's it's called the Super Professional, and just look at that.
Whoa.
I mean, I don't know. You're probably thinking I'm mad, but I think it's absolutely brilliant. The 1000 Super Professional is going for $1,010 or £799, and the Super Professional first appeared in 1984 in the Heuer catalogue as a replacement for the 1000 deep dive. It stayed in the Tag Heuer catalogue until the early 2000s, during which time Tag changed the case design, making it slightly larger, which was 43mm, and more square, as well as changing the reference number to fit with the Tag numbering system. They even made a black version, which was created in 1989 as a limited run of 500 in partnership with American company Security Defense Systems. Now, this is automatic. It had an ETA 2892 automatic movement.
And this was targeted at the Sea Dweller, because the Sea Dweller back then had a plexi crystal. If I remember correctly, that Sea Dweller with the plexi was not rated to 4000. I think that was only rated to 2, or am I talking shit? So as far as I know, that Tag Heuer was rated higher than the Sea Dweller at that time, and that was the big thing.
Is this not 1,000 meters, or is it? It says 3,330 feet.
Yeah, I think 1,000 meters, because 3,000 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the Sea Dweller back then was rated to 660 meters because of the plexi crystal, or am I wrong?
Right. Okay. I don't know whether this is plexi or plexi. This is probably glass, isn't it? Sapphire.
Yeah, I think that it was a mineral glass, but not sure.
Right, mineral glass. But I just think that's a beast. I mean, I know the loom's shot on that now on the hands, but that blows me away. This one, I want one.
With that cracked loom?
Not with the cracked loom. No, I've seen others, but only on rubber straps. No,
I just checked the old Sea Dweller with the plexi crystal was 2,000 feet, 610 meters, and I remember that the Tag Heuer was rated far higher than the Sea Dweller back then. Until the Rolex then changed to sapphire.
Hi, Seb Nelly. Just catching up with the chat. Hi, Seb Nelly. Jim Miller says really cool piece. I'm not sure which one that was. I think probably the black one.
The black one, yeah.
Abe's is trolling, I think. Jack H, look forward to the carbon fiber Mont Blanc. Thank you. Oh, the pen. He says he's sending him a pen.
Yeah. Nice. I gave him a reply. Never give up dreaming.
The bezel is an acquired taste, Dr. Bob. Yeah, this bezel is definitely an acquired taste.
Looks like a throwing star.
It does, doesn't it? Jim Miller's saying quirky, but he loves it. That's exactly what I thought, Jim. It's really quirky, but I just love that throwing star sort of look to it.
I think they also had a super professional which had the normal case, which was a little bit bigger than, but you didn't have to have that star-shaped bezel on all models. I think they had a different bezel on that super professional as well, which made it then a little bit more traditional.
Yeah. So we'll move on from the 1000 series. They're all in the 1000 series. So we'll move on to the 2000 series. And the 2000 series is one of the most long-lived and successful Tag Heuer collections. Heuer introduced the 2000 series in 1982, and Tag continued to produce them until 2005, which time it was succeeded by the popular Aqua Racer collection. Well, that's a lie, actually, because the Aqua Racer was introduced in 87, I think. But for me, one could argue quite convincingly that the 2000 series are the quintessential Tag Heuer timepieces of that time, of that era. While later 2000 models offered automatic movements, the time-only 2000 series was available with a quartz movement at first. And I'll just get into those now. So This is the 2000 series. This model was a Heuer model originally. It's the 2000 series 973.006, and it's $196. I've seen it for on one site, and this is £495 on eBay. This model was a Heuer model originally, being listed in the 1984 catalogue, and there's a bit of a military look to it. It's a quartz movement, 41.5 including the crown, 9mm thick, made until around 1999.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about these quartz pieces is that they're thin. You know, that's yeah, that's just the cool benefit of them. 9mm thin. Well, like what watches are 9mm thin these days? Even quartz ones. You know?
Yeah, I remember having one of these back in the day. My father got one, and I took it from him. I wore it a lot, but he ended up taking it away from me and giving me his Seiko automatic watch and telling me, "Hey, this is your new watch. You take this one, and this is my watch."
It's funny.
So took the tag away from you.
Yeah.
He snatched it back.
Yeah, he snatched it back.
He knew it would be a future classic, so he was like, "Give me that watch back."
Yeah, and it's easier for him. Sometimes he just needs a watch to grab and take off.
Yeah.
And he gave me his Seiko automatic watch because he had to then set it up, and he was like, "Yeah, you like watches now, right? Okay, here is an automatic watch." And I was like, "Okay, thank you." Free watch is always good.
Yes, Dr. Bob saying it's got SMP 300 vibes. Not quite. I think the bezel's needs to be a bit more angular. But yeah, if you're feeling that, fair enough. Jim's saying that when all he could afford as a teenager was £100 watch taxed with his holy grails. It was my holy grail for my whole
100%, yeah.
For my whole teenage years. A Tag Heuer was my holy grail. Really was.
You've got to admit, like people talk about Rolex marketing, but Tag Heuer marketing is fucking right up there. Like they brainwashed all of us to wanting a Tag Heuer. Come on, like all of us wanted them. And we had them. I had two, you know. So 100%.
Totally agree. I even had a couple of colleagues that were only Tag watches, and they got like new ones, and they're like, "Yeah, I love Tag. They're a sponsor of Red Bull, and they're really like still with the old Tag mentality." And I'm like, no, I would rather pay these 2,000 euros instead in a Longy or at a high-end Tissot or even a used Tudor than get a Tag now. But looking back then, like I remember my father got a Carrera Caliber 17, this brown one with the like cutted subdials. And I was like, yeah, when I start working now, I have to get this one. And I have to research. And then when I started researching, I was like, no, I just liked how it looked like. And then when I went into movements and watches, I was like, no, I'm not going to buy one with my money now. If my father wants to give it to me, okay, but I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a quintessential Tag Heuer for me. This is the 2000 professional reference WE1110-R quartz, and this is going for £349 on eBay. This is the total redesign, and for me, it's a quintessential neo vintage Tag Heuer watch. I remember from my teens.
You know why this is iconic? It doesn't have a Jubilee bracelet, it doesn't have the Rolex bezel insert, and it doesn't have the Rolex inspired dial. So those three components are own, and that makes it special and iconic.
Yeah, good point, Tiggy. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that bezel, I think, is when you start, for me as well, that's a real Tag Heuer. The design there.
I mean, it's a reduction of that Super 1000 professional that we saw. And as I said, a friend of my brother's had one of these when I was in my teens, and I thought they was so cool because he had this funky watch, and I really aspired to owning one eventually. And this watch had a big impact on me and in my interest in watches. And 38 mil with the matte black dial, I was in awe of this tag branding and absolutely loved the style of the bezel with its protruding grips. And the first time I ever found out about the watches had rotating bezels, it was the first time I actually realized that a watch you could rotate a bezel on a watch. And it still remains a 90s classic for me and probably the definitive tag heuer for me. Just mind blowing. To think you can get one for 350 quid now on eBay. Just absolute steal.
One of the things
An
I've
icon.
noticed, Thomas, sorry, Thomas, just quickly on the last couple of watches that you've shown, the end link is really messed up and it's not sitting flush on the case. I'm wondering if that's a obviously it looks like to be a hollow end link on the bracelet. Maybe it's just something about these watches. They just had shitty end links or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think,
possibly. I mean,
QC as well. Like the tolerances weren't the best back then. I think.
Yeah.
As you can see at least a millimeter tolerance on all sides between the lug and the end link.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a get what you pay for.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And I think Tag is one of the brands that had like a boom and then a bust and then a boom and then a bust, and some people just remember the booms. And I think it's one of the brands, like the non-watch guys. A lot of people I see wear like Tags, Breitlings, Panerais, and not like the limited editions one. Like they wear like a one with I don't know, an ETA movement or something like this, just because they think, that's a nice tag, or that's a nice Panerai or nice Breitling. Like Dr. Bob's was saying.
What's Jim saying? Tag then moved on to Panerai in early 2000s, where currently wearing my Pam purchased over 18 years ago, then Pepsi's and Sub Saturn AD's windows. Yeah, you could say that Tag fad moved on to Panerai. Paneristy was a thing in the late 90s, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Tag on my first Holy Grails, then moved on to Panerai in early mid-2000s. Yeah, me too. I bought my Tag in the 2011. Yeah, after I bought my Sub. Yeah, my Kermit. Currently wearing my Pam 113 I purchased in 2005. Yeah. So we'll carry on with the 2000 range. And I think you've already pulled this one up, JCB. The 2000 chronograph 10th of a second competition.
Yeah, no, I had a different one.
This one's going for £549 on eBay. A chronograph version of the 2000, going back to their chronograph roots, but with a quartz movement in a diver watch case. 38 mil. Another one of the appealing features of the 2000 series was a stylish bracelet, a bit like the Submariner bracelet, but with curved links. A great 90s look and a quartz movement, I think, this. Really like it. And I don't know about the sort of face sub-registers.
That was the movement they used across the Tag Heuer line with that one. So you'll see various Tag Heuers, and even the Formula One chronographs have that layout. That's just how they designed it, I guess. Yeah, not to everyone's taste, but hey, it's a bit different, you know. You don't really see that often. So you'll normally see like a 369 layout or a 6912 layout. You don't really see this. What is it, like a 10-2-6 layout very often. So I guess it's a unique design to them.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
I
an
think
interesting one.
FPJ actually have a layout like that.
Yeah, they do in their sensograph. Yeah. Yeah. This is an interesting
FPJ
one.
copy tag Heuer. There you go. You heard it here first.
This is an interesting one. I thought I found the Sea Racer 2000 Sea Racer chronograph. This is designed to measure yachting regattas and targeted at the sailing community. Has a regatta timer feature on the inner bezel, and the regatta time feature on the inner bezel is numbered 1 to 10, as you can see on just around there.
Oh, that is cool.
It's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
So it has this one's going.
It has a central minute counter and a central second counter then on top.
Yeah, so I think the seconds are counted on the. Yeah, it's got two hands. It's got a black one and a red one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Black hand and a red hand. So it's going for £763. This one. It's a 39mm quartz. I think this is really funky.
Yeah, I was gonna say funky.
Yeah. Like I would rather have this one rather than the Alaska Project Swatch Omega plastic one.
Exactly, Abdul. You say you can these watches, like we said, £3,350 for Patek Philippe Professional 200 we showed earlier, the diver one. I mean, you could get that for the price of a moon swatch or for a Blancpain swatch, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got a real watch on your hands. It's quartz, okay, but the source is Blancpain swatch, but it's a real quartz metal watch you can be about. You know, it's a bit of history.
Yeah, and in 20 years you will be able to still wear it. Change maybe the battery. The other one probably would be in the garbage bin.
Yep.
Yeah, Senna wore a tag. That's good enough for me. We'll get to that one, Jim.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that one.
30 years anniversary from his death this weekend.
They're hot watches. People are looking at those for some reason. There's a little niche in the market there. People are trying to collect Senna tags. Yeah.
Hi, JP CWC. Good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, mate. Yep. What's that called?
Hey,
Sea Racer.
Looking for it's a Sea Racer. It's called the 2000 Sea Racer. Thomas, you looking forward to seeing the handcraft? If so, you like any of the handcraft pieces? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Apes.
I think he means Patek.
Maybe Patek, yeah.
Patek. Patek. Yeah. Oh, yes. I am looking forward to that. Sorry, you just caught me out. I'm trying to focus on this, Apes. Sorry.
Are you meeting up with the Apes in London and go there to Patek Philippe?
I have no idea. I don't know what he looks like. I haven't got his phone number. So if he walks up to me at the London Watch Show and says, "Hi, I'm Apes," I'll be happy to talk to him. Yeah.
My advice is don't talk to him because he will try to get a carbon Mont Blanc pen out of you. So you better stay undercover.
Carbon Mont Blanc pen.
How the hell do I get a carbon Mont Blanc pen, Higgy?
How do I get a carbon Mont Blanc pen?
I'm glad that I got one when they were available. So
we were friends, man. Jeez.
How do I get one? That's what I want to know.
JCB, you ever heard about the term hoard and possess? So
Yeah, hold and possess. Yeah. What do we got? The link.
So this is the 2000 SEL, or
that is not the link. That is SEL.
Oh, sorry.
this is the SEL. It goes for
Sorry.
775. This is the beginning of the link. The beginning of the link range.
And this is a very important piece because it was designed by the hottest watch designer back then. He got the mission from many watch companies to modernize their watch design for the 2000s. And this is a classical example of the evolution from the traditional Tag Heuer design to this kind of pebble-shaped, I would say, design, which was aerodynamic and very progressive back then. And the name of the guy is Jörg Hüsek, who is still designing watches and pens and all kind of stuff. And Jörg Hüsek, he worked for Ebel, he worked for Breguet, but he was most famous for creating the SEL, which was a very hot design back then.
Yeah, so this is 37mm. It's mid-size unisex piece, 200 meters water resistant, grey branded dial, Swiss-made quartz caliber 495, polished bezel, brushed and polished link bracelet, as it became known. This is the first time I'd seen this kind of bracelet, which then became the Tag Link range. And I first saw this design being sold as a fake on a beach on holiday in Turkey. And it was produced between 1990 and 2001, and the retail price was, when new, was £1,495. But I remember buying a fake one on, as I say, on holiday for about £5 for something.
But that link or SEL bracelet was really revolutionary, and I know that JCB finds it ugly, and I agree it hasn't aged well. But they had different varieties, so you can see here the entirely brushed one. Then they had one link brushed and one link polished. That was available, and they even had it in two-tone. So there was one row of link steel and one row of link gold plated, and the bezel then gold plated as well. And they haven't aged well, but they were hot shit back then, really.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's right. They haven't aged well, but when I see the modern one in the link design, I reckon it looks awesome. It's just something about how
And it's a different design to all the Jubilee and Oyster-inspired bracelets that have been there before. I mean, that is totally different, and it's probably the first time that we saw a different metal bracelet.
Oh yeah, this guy was on acid or something when he came up with this, for sure. 100%. Look at that case. Like,
Dr. Bob Nyman saying these bracelets I found horrible looking. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're really acquired taste. I mean, when I first saw one on holiday, and the fake one, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I thought I might as well buy one. But I tried it on. They were actually uncomfortable to wear. They didn't.
Really?
They didn't have a full fit to your wrist. They were wobbly in the middle. They were. Maybe it's just because I bought a fake one.
Yeah, they were also put together with those pins that you could see in those gaps.
Yeah,
so it was a horrible thing, actually. But I remember we were selling them like crazy because finally it was something new.
Yeah. So I'll take this monstrosity off the screen and go to what it led on to, which was the link range. Now this is the link Tiger Woods caliber 6, limited to 5,000 pieces, going for $998. for £797. So the Link is one of TAG's key ranges, having been a critical part of the collection since 1987 when it was launched as the SEL Sports Elegance range, positioned as a premium watch that would be the flagship of the brand. And when TAG revamped the watch in 1999, the name SEL was changed to Link, with the new name reflecting the watch's defining characteristic, which is the double S-shaped linked in the bracelet, which aimed to be sporty yet sufficiently elegant to be worn as a dress watch. In the first 20 years of the model's life, more than 2 million Links and SELs were sold, making it one of the most commercially successful watch ranges from any brand at the time, and at the time the most important Tag Heuer series. This was a period before Tag had reissued the Carrera and the Monaco, so the company's sales were dominated by the style watches and other chronographs.
Yeah, not only that.
Just bear with me, Jonathan.
Yeah.
The latest revival of the Link was in 2016 when Tag launched a new women's series with an entirely new case. Tag produced several versions of the Link connection to honor its ambassador Tiger Woods. Tag began work with Tiger Woods back in 2002. Over the following 9 years, made 6 limited edition Tiger Woods Link editions. Each of these Tiger Woods Link watches is finished with red burgundy highlights to represent the lucky shirts favoured by Woods for the Sunday final rounds. And this caliber 6 automatic movement watch on the screen is the third limited edition from 2006. Sorry, Jonathan, you were saying.
No problem. The SEL, or later Link, that was an important product, not only because it was very, very attractive to the masses, it also made it possible for Tag Heuer to move upwards in price, because those SELs were around double of the price of the older models. So they could move upwards. I just said previously, the price usually was a fifth of a comparable Rolex watch, and probably even less than a Seiko when it was comparable. So the SEL was strategically a very important model for them.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So we've got in the comments now. Yeah, Dr. Bob saying when they were new, a lot of people wanted them. I remember that. Yeah. So we mentioned this. I think it was Jim Miller mentioned Ayrton Senna, and there's been several iterations of the Ayrton Senna range, but there was even a Link one of those, and this is the Ayrton Senna from 2002, the third edition of 13 Ayrton Senna 3000 series. The third edition of 13 Ayrton Senna special edition watches, 4,098 pieces numbered made, which was the number of minutes elapsed in Senna's races, apparently. And as you can see, it's got the Link bracelet, the SEL bracelet again. And yeah, I just thought I'd drop this one in here. The Ayrton Senna. There's been loads more nicer looking Ayrton Senna ones. You can see the signed dial. But I just thought I'd drop this one in here. Yeah, there's been a lot nicer looking Ayrton Senna ones from Tag Heuer. But we'll move on to the 3000 series. Um,
Dr. Bob, that was not titanium, that was steel.
and the 3000 series, this looks like the beginnings of the Aqua Racer. It's a bit of a bad photo, a bit of a damaged example, this. But it's going for £250. It's 38 mil or 35 mil. It looks like this one. Excuse me. Quartz again. 3000 range entered the catalogue in 1984, I believe. Excuse me. Just 1 year before the buyout by a Technique Avant-Garde group. And the range last appeared in 1989 Japanese catalogue, which means it was probably only made for about 6 years or less. The 12-sided bezel looks like it was the inspiration for the Aqua Racer's bezel. And
Just gonna say that.
another dive watch allowed Tag Heuer to survive its challenges from the watch industry found in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, interesting, this one. See that bezel, up close bezel.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the shape bezel we see now in the Aqua Racer, right?
It is, yeah.
When did you say this came out? 1984, yeah? So that's
1984. I mean, they're bought out. Tag bought them off Heuer. Tag bought out Heuer in 1985. So this is what Heuer brought this out originally.
Okay.
So yeah, this is originally made in 1984. This one by Heuer.
Yeah, I'm in two minds about the bezel shape. Like when I see it now on the Aqua Racer.
I am. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, but it gives it something unique, you know. Like every other watch has a round bezel, but then on the Aqua Racer, it's got the angled one, so it's something unique. So I sort of think
it has an identity. It's like the Seamaster Professional and
having the skeleton. Yeah.
Bobby Legs, how you doing?
Hey, Bob.
Bobby Legs loves watches.
Bobby Legs loves watches.
Legs loves watches.
You say again?
Bobby Legs loves watches.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Bobby Legs in the house.
YouTube celebrity, Bobby Legs. Wow.
He is. All the watchmakers love Bobby Legs.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this one, as I say, looks like the Aqua Racer. I mean, next up is a full gold version of it, which, I mean, I don't know whether you think it's necessary. But look at that. As a full gold version of the watch we've just seen. 35 mil or 37 mil, including crown. Same sort of bracelet as the 2000, but this gold plate bracelet is probably worth about £150 in itself, they say. But I would have thought a full gold bracelet would be worth more than that.
When you say full gold, though, you mean gold plated. It's not.
I
not solid gold.
I don't know whether they're talking full gold or full gold plated. I mean,
it's gold plated for sure. You can even just look at the edges.
Yeah, the inside of the bracelet looks.
It looks like when you look at the back, it looks like it's gold plated because the back it looks like it's steel.
Yeah, it's definitely gold plated.
I think they offered a solid gold one, particularly the SEL, but there were only a few. Nobody was that bold to buy a Tag.
Wow, they actually had a solid gold one. Okay.
So move on to the 4000 series. That's the 3000 series. Moving quickly on to the 4000 series. And here we have this one. This is in 1991, Tag Heuer introduced the 4000 series, a new range intended to bridge the gap between the more utilitarian features of the 2000 series and the elegance of the SEL line. And it had prominent placement in painting of the Tag Heuer logo at the top of the case.
That's
and
hilarious.
Offered a stylish watch for the customers who wanted a dive watch positioned between other collections. Like the 1000 and the 1500 series, the 4000 series was comprised of time-only watches with chronographs not being included. And the 4000 series continued until 1998 and 1999, when it was replaced by the Curium collection. And yeah, this is £750 gold and steel, this one. It is pretty hilarious, isn't it? It looks awful with that branding on.
That is, when you at the start of the show when you mentioned the 4000 series, I was sort of scratching my brain to think what's the 4000 series, and now I realize why I don't know what the 4000 series is, because my brain fucking put it out of there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, because you switched off.
It's fucking horrid. Jesus Christ. That is. Ugh. So this became the Curium series, right? Is that what you said?
It was superseded by the Curium series.
Yeah,
We've
right.
got. I'll
That
take it
wasn't
off screen because it's not popping. It's not
Thank
proving
you.
popular.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
It's not proving popular, but there was the 6000 series, which is I'll just let Abdul in. Hi, Abdul. There was a 6000 series, which I'll just pull up now. Which, the Mika Hakkinen limited edition, this one. So in the late 70s, the dive watch emerged for Heuer as a new product category, determining the success or even the survival of the company. And after undergoing ownership changes in the first half of the 80s and the early 90s, the company had a strong catalogue of dive watches and chronographs that were positioned as elegant luxury watches, so to say. The watches developed by Tag Heuer created the perfect position for the brand to move up market, and by the early 1990s, Tag was back on a sound financial footing. Attention now turned to developing a flagship watch, which was christened the 6000 series. Tag released several limited or special edition 6000 watches, many of which had a strong link to Formula One and other motorsports. Perhaps the rarest of these is a special watch that was given to the owners of the McLaren F1 supercar, and Tag was ready to re-engage the world of motorsports and precision timing, and the 6000 series provided a natural bridge between these worlds. The responsibility for designing the new 6000 series fell to Georg Hayek again, who later designed the Curium collection in 1997. One of the characteristics of Hayek's efforts was the integration of Tag Heuer's shield into the design of the watch. The Tag Heuer as a company was proud of its success in developing dive watches for over a dozen years, and the Series 6000 celebrated that accomplishment, apparently. The watch on the screen is a Mika Hakkinen limited edition. Driving for McLaren, Mika won Formula One championships in 1998 and 1999, and Tag created a pair of 6000 series chronographs with his name on the dial, a black dial version which is on the screen, and a model with a white dial. So yeah, this is going for £797, 42 mil, and it's a men's quartz again. Don't know my thoughts on this, JCB, since you are a chronograph man. It's got those sub registers which look like a face again. It's
Can you just pull up Orange Hand's last comment? I think that'll explain my thoughts on this one.
This is where things went pear-shaped for Tag. Yeah, it could be the start. You could be well right there, Orange Hand. It could be the start of the decline of Tag.
I think it's sort of cool because it's a quirky Hakkinen edition, but that's about it. Like the whole thing looks like a Alibaba AliExpress special.
Special.
Yeah. So
yeah. This sort could have been. I mean, in 1999, we're talking about 2000. This is sort of where they sort of started to dip, really, isn't it? Where they sort of started to dip in popularity when other watch brands became came to the fore and became more popular, and watch buyers started to buy other Omegas and. I mean, the Brosnan Omega would have been out by then. The people would have been looking elsewhere for, and not really looking at Tag Heuer.
But it's interesting though, because like even now today, you've got Tag Heuer doing just some sort of crazy stuff over here, but over here they're doing some really cool stuff. Like they're bringing out like glass box Carreras and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So even back in 2000, in the early 2000s, they were bringing out some really cool stuff. And I'll just show you this one just really quickly as a bit of a point of a point of what they were doing at that time. So you've got that they were doing stuff like this. Okay, so this was a re-edition of an original Heuer watch, but this was brought out in like early 2000s, like 2001, 2002 or something. So they had, you've got that Hakkinen watch on one hand, and then on the other hand, you've got this. This is a 36 mil, Lamania based chronograph that they had this coming. This would have been in the shop in the same window as that Hakkinen watch. You know what I mean? So it's just Tag is an interesting brand. I think they do weird shit and they do cool shit at the same time.
Yeah, that was their 6,000 range, and they wanted to make that their. As I said, what did I say? They want to develop a flagship watch.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
I mean, it's all here and there, isn't it? Really, it's all spiel. A flagship watch. What is a flagship watch? It's hardly that. The Hakkinen. But just going back to the Formula One that you showed earlier on. The Formula One, the first generation of Formula One watches were designed by Eddie Bergner and used an innovative case construction, which was a mixture of stainless steel inner case coated with a fiberglass. Initially released in two sizes, which was 34mm and 28mm, and brightly coloured cases matched with plastic straps so you could cut to size. The Series 1 of the Formula One watch was made between 1986 and 1990 and was the first watch released after the acquisition of Heuer by Tag. This is a 1990 model. And is this the kind of thing you remember?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Everyone had one of these, and my neighbor who was older than me, he had this one here, but with the green colorway. So it had the green strap, the green bezel, similar color dial, but with green accents on it. And it was just the bee's knees, man. That's what.
those were super cool, and we had the same discussions just like we had with the Moon's watch, because this was priced less than half of the cheapest Tag Heuer in the normal range. And people were afraid that this would cannibalize their higher end models, because basically there was no reason to spend more than double to get a Series 1000. So the story was quite similar, but it showed that this made a lot of new clients for Tag Heuer who didn't stop with the Formula One. Those moved up, and I think that was the trick.
Yeah. And I mean, like we say, with the Kith reissue that came out for £1,500 or dollars, you can buy one of these for £300. But as you'll see, the numerals will have faded a bit.
Yeah.
The numerals on the bezel.
And notice the dial and the hands as well, Thomas. So I think these watches, they had shitty seals or something. Because every one that you see on eBay will have that there'll be some moisture damage, to the dial or the hands. Like, it's very, very rare that you'll see one that is in pristine.
Is it the shitty seals, or just the fact that people don't invest good money into those watches?
Servicing, yeah. I probably the latter, Jonathan, I think.
Yeah.
But
because
it could be a bit of both, really.
Yeah.
It could be a bit of both.
Because I remember they were pretty good back then. We had zero complaints about the quality back then. But that doesn't say anything in the lifespan of 30, 40 years. What I find interesting with that Keith Heuer edition, I'm telling myself, Heuer doesn't produce a limited series of 5,000 and stop there. So I would assume that Tag Heuer will continue this project Formula One in a certain way after that limited edition has been sold. And I'm asking myself, will they continue with that ridiculously high pricing, or will they come back to a reasonable pricing, which then pisses off the people who bought the limited edition?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's basically the same watch.
Yeah, 100%. All it says is Kith or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me,
but that just continue the cash grab strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think
it's too small, this watch, man. It's
like
35 mil or something, I think. It's like a boy size watch. It needs to be like, if it was 38, it would be cool.
I think the fishing pond of people who are willing to pay 1,500 for those logoed by fashion brands is very limited. So I have doubts that if Tag Heuer now goes in a bigger series at the same price level, that they can find enough clients to buy those at 1,500.
So the range expanded to include a stainless steel case and bracer, as well as a new range of colours in 1987. And the fiberglass models continued to be sold until 1993-94, and stand out today as real signature watch of the Formula One collection. They're all quartz watches using either Swiss Ronda or ETA movement, and this is one you had, JCB, the bracelet version.
Yeah, the bracelet version. This bracelet was actually really good, I've got to say. It was a great watch. Like, when it was new and it looked new and the paint was still on the bezel, it was cool. But after 5 or 6 years of really hard use, the bezel needed to be replaced, and it was just it was a mess. You can see there on that one there, the bezel is just, it's screwed, man.
Yeah, all the writings come off. Plastic bezel. Yeah.
So I think,
but this one's going for £359. So I mean,
Hopefully on the new Formula Ones, like the current generation Formula One. I'm not talking about the kith, but just the current Formula One. Hopefully it's a lot more robust than what it was on these ones. And I always toy with the idea of picking up one of those Formula Ones, just as a grab and go beater. But the bezel, the idea of the bezel, getting scratched up just puts me off. But yeah, this would be a cool, like, it's probably now it's a ladies size watch, I think.
yeah.
It's just for a guy, you can't do it. Unless you've got thin
Yeah, I mean,
baby wrists.
We have here a guy called the GMT Master. Is that Chris?
I don't know.
Hello, Thomas.
Not sure.
I'll just get back to him. I'll just finish with this. I'm just on a different page.
Okay.
So the Formula One chronograph was released in 1989 and came with a red plastic. The Formula One chronograph was released in 1989 and came with a red plastic strap. When LVMH acquired Tag Heuer in 1999, acquired Tag Heuer in 1985, and then despite the success of the Formula One collection, it was dropped from the Tag Heuer catalogue. After a break of 4 years, Tag brought back the Formula One collection in 2004 with a new design and upgraded materials to establish the Series 3. And I think that this chronograph on the 2000 Series bracelet is from the Series 3 Formula One range, made between 2004 to 2007, because it has the classic sort of bracelet of the 2000, but not that Jubilee bracelet.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
So
were not really
maybe-
successful. They were too expensive because they
Were
were
they?
more than double of the price of a normal.
Do you know
Formula
the
One.
time that these came out, Jonathan?
No, I can't pinpoint it to a date, but the Formula One was very successful, and then they thought they're adding the chronograph to get multiple purchases basically from the Formula One fans. But that was basically the price of a Series 1000, if I remember correctly, and people didn't like the plastic bezel on that, so they went for a Series 1000 or 2000 instead.
Yeah, it's going for £439. So this one. So
And what's the
I'll
size of this one, Thomas? Have you got the size there at all? I'm sure it's
I
bigger.
haven't.
I'm sure it's about. I think this is 38 from memory.
I can go back to the eBay ad and check.
I think that's 38. Yep.
38 mil. Yeah. So that's 38. Yeah.
So that's one of the cool things about this chrono is that it's actually a proper size watch. You can pull that off. So yeah, this is one when I'm drunk late night eBaying. This is the one that I look at sometimes. Yeah. I think of nostalgia and I think, okay, if I'm going to get a Formula One, it's going to be the chronograph because I could actually wear it,
So GMT Master, how are you doing, my friend? Yes, it's a friend from the streams from many years ago. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, my friend. It's been a long time, GMT Master.
Is he GMT Master also on the Rolex forum, or is that a different guy?
I have no idea. I'm not on Rolex forums, so he may well be, he may well not be. But yeah, good to see you. This is our channel. We do a regular fortnightly show with JCB, Jonathan, and Abdul, and so if you want to subscribe to GMT Master, it'd be great to see you in the chat regularly. It's great to see you again, and yeah, get in touch if you want to message me. It's been a long time. Good to see you, my friend. So, oh, how's Zippo and something orange hand and the rest of the gang? Zippo's doing great. NS something's doing great. I haven't heard from NS something for quite a while. Zippo's doing great. He's often in the chat here on a morning. It's a bit it's a bit early for him. Our show, it's a bit early for the American audience. Orange Hand's in the chat. Here, as you can see. And yeah, all the old gang are doing good. So if you subscribe and watch the shows, watch future shows, you might see some of the old gang. So yeah, so sorry about that, everyone. Just a little bit of a catch up on the with the past crew from the streams, and I'll crack on now. So yeah, the Kyriums. These were a bit of a strange ones for the tag, and yeah, look at that for a futuristic design. Introduced in 1997 and designed by Georg Hayek again. The Kyrium replaced it. Sorry, do you want to say it, Jonathan?
Yeah, Husek. Hayek is the owner of Omega.
Sorry, Jörg Husek.
Yes, Jörg Husek.
Jörg Husek. And the Kyrium replaced the 4000 series. The design was much more futuristic than the 4000. It was 41 millimeters, used an automatic movement, and this is a chronograph. So going back to Heuer's roots, it's 200-meter water resistant, stainless steel, brushed and polished bracelet, day of 430 unidirectional bezel, automatic movement as mentioned, and it's a Kyrium chronograph automatic. And it was, as I say, it was introduced in 1997 until 2008. And this one's going for £899. So it's this was
£899.
Yeah, this for me is during the period when tags started to sort of drift off and wane away. You know, they're a bit sort of
yeah, I think so. That sort of period
when other brands started to overtake them a bit more, and they faded into the limelight, into the background a bit. Tag, you know, and
the bezel and the dial and the case is not too bad. It's just that bit where the end link comes into the case. That part there is a bit weird. Yeah, sort of. I think it's just. I don't know. It's not super bad. It's not super ugly. It's just a bit of a. Yeah. It hasn't aged very well. I think when it came out, people were like, "Oh, this is really cool." Maybe for like a year, and then it was like.
There's another one here, which is the Kyrium Anadigi chronograph, which is £755. This is a 2002 model.
Doesn't get any better, Thomas.
It doesn't, does it? It doesn't. You're right, Jonathan. It doesn't. This, as I say, this for me is when tags start to lose that finesse of design and or try too hard, maybe. I think
the main problem was their pricing was too high, and I'm not sure if they couldn't invest in technology just like the Swatch Group, for example, in that heavy machinery to get rid of most of the employees, or what the reason was. But back then, if I remember correctly, Heuer was in a pickle of having to increase prices then coming up with a design that fits to those higher prices, and they came too close to Rolex and Omega. And from what I remember, that was the main problem. It was not, from my point of view, it was not the design that was the problem. It was the pricing that that always moved up with every design evolution. And I think that Tag Heuer basically priced them out of the market.
Yeah, they were expensive. Yeah.
So this was going back to the Heuer reference, A44 reference I started off talking about that turned into the 1000 series. Another model that was from the A44 was the Monin, and this was made by Heuer, but also Tag, and it's also dated around the early 80s, I'm guessing. 42mm automatic Jubilee bracelet, 200 meters water resistant. The 844-5 was the first diver to have Tag on the dial. The beefier dive watch from Tag, the design is definitely from the 1970s, from Heuer's by Heuer, and it's automatic before Tag went all quartz. The Monin was one of the first series of divers by Heuer, and production was outsourced to French company Georges Monin, which is where it gets its name from. And so that's just going back to, I should have really started with this watch, but I didn't really go on to it later on. So I'll go back to the...
I like that watch, the design. I mean, it's... Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it has that military look and that sort of...
Yeah. And the case shape is sort of unique on that one.
It looks more Heuer than Tag, doesn't it? Definitely. Definitely looks more Heuer than Tag. So move on to this sort of Aqua Racer line again. And this is not the familiar sort of Aqua Racer we know. Hasn't got that Aqua Racer bezel. Although it has a little bit, but not as accented as usual. The Aqua Racer was launched in 1982 as a water sports inspired watch for professionals. But this is the Aqua Racer Caliber S McLaren Lewis Hamilton. And it's a quartz Caliber S, 42mm, subsidiary retrograde recorder dials. Retail price of £2,700 back in the day. From 2007 to 2012, Hamilton drove for McLaren, so this watch was made then. And it says it's got a perpetual date until 2099. But I don't understand this sort of perpetual date function on it. I think that's more to do with the chronograph, to be honest with you.
So you got
I don't see a date anywhere on it.
Yeah, me too. I don't. So
but in the description,
you got central seconds, and then you got 100 1/100th of a second.
1/10 of a second. 1/10 of a second.
What's on the right?
On the left, and on the right.
Those are ours.
It says 1/100.
Oh, 1/100. Yeah. Okay.
But the meter goes from 0 to 9, so it's
Well, probably that moves up and down retrograde, and every time that this moves back, that counter on the left then moves one step ahead.
Goes up one, yeah.
Which is ridiculous because you have to process that in your brain when you're reading it out.
Well, it's going to be like...
Isn't it? It's balmy.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so this is £695 if you really want one.
And that's automatic? Yeah,
no quartz.
No, it's quartz.
No, that's quartz.
Quartz Caliber S.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, like, having a 1/100th of a second.
But it had a retail price in 2007 to 2012. It had a retail price of £2,700 for a court forge.
3,700? Did you say?
$2,700. Sorry.
$2,700. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay.
It's a bit too
Yeah,
much, really. I mean,
you're paying $1,000 for Lewis Hamilton written on the dial there.
yeah, written on the bezel. Now, this one I actually fell for and bought one. And that is the micro timer.
Shit, you bought one of these?
Yeah, bought one back in the
Okay.
90s, back in the
Okay.
late 90s, early 2000s.
What
sorry,
influence were you under?
Tell us about it.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Jonathan, all the football managers were wearing them. Rafa Benitez wore one, and a couple of other football managers wore them. And it's a digital quartz with a 1,000th of a second chronograph made between 2002 and 2008. And in 2004, the Formula One range had been discontinued, and the F1 Curium and Micrograph Formula One were both watches having official timekeeper of the FIA Formula One World Championship engravings on the case back. And the Micrograph, which came out first, was the actual accurate to 100th of a second, whereas the microtimer is a 1,000th of a second chronograph. Also, the micrograph was built to 999 pieces, whereas the microtimer was a regular part of the lineup. And I bought one. I bought one of these because it was sort of like 1,000th of a second chronograph. It was a digital watch, which was funky, but it was a hell of a scratch magnet. It was so shiny.
Yeah,
they would pick up scratches at the. If you blew on it, if you blinked it would pick up a scratch.
Yeah, and it was a time where LCD was totally passé. So I wonder what was riding you to buy an LCD watch in the 2000s. And it was not cheap.
No, it wasn't cheap. I bought it second hand for about £800, and this one's going for $799. This one, and but I took a hit on it when I sold it. I sold it for £700, £600, I think, because I couldn't get rid of it. No one wanted to buy it, and
£200. That's not considering. Like all things considered, that's not too bad on a tag.
But when they came out, they were about £2,000.
Oh my god!
or more. I think they're about £2,500 when they came out, and I was absolutely beside with it. I loved it. I thought it was funky. I thought it was shiny, a bit blingy, a bit.
So Thomas, be honest. Thinking back when you purchased that watch, are you shaking your head?
No, I actually think it's really cool, and I would wear one now. But it's just such a scratch magnet. That was the only thing that put me off. It was such a scratch magnet, and plus I wanted to raise some money to buy something else at the time. But it's if you look at it, the scratches.
Yeah.
The scratches it picks up. It had like an indigo sort of light up system that you could light up the dial, the numerals with.
Yeah, if I could get one for about like $400 or $500, I'd wear one. It'd actually be.
It was so cool. It was
kind of cool. I don't mind it.
I thought I was the business with this on in about 2005 or so, and I bought it 2000. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I absolutely loved that. Another watch I bought, which I still love, but I gave to my dad because I got too many watches, and he wears it every day, and he loves it.
Cool watch.
Is this one? It's the Monza. And from around 2004, this is the only version of the Monza that was around. I have the automatic caliber 6 movement, and I love this so much, as I say, that I bought one and ended up giving it to my dad, who wears it to this day. I love the sub-second. I love the sub-second dial and the sword hands. Yeah, it's a chronograph originally, the Monster, but this is a time-only version. Goes for $1,679. This one on eBay. But I love it. I think the design is beautiful. I love the 12 and the 6, and yeah, it's really, really nice look. Really nice look. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going into the sort of more well-known models now that we know about from Tag, and this is a Carrera, but not one that you'd really find attractive. It's the Carrera. I think the Carrera line started to come back from 2006, 2007, 2008 onwards, and the Carrera had its 60th anniversary last year in 2023, and this model is from 2011. It's 41 mil, 100-meter war resistant, round case, black dial, quite different from the modern glass box Carreras and the collabs with Porsche. Time only versions now we've got, and sailing Carreras like the Skipper, and yeah, this is a very different one. This one, it's got the round case, which is classic for the Carrera, but it's going for £1,299. This one, but not my jam really. This iteration of Carrera, I much prefer what they're doing now. They've moved on so much more of Tag. I don't know what you think, JCB.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Carrera, the 60s Carreras, or whenever they came out, it's always been a design icon. The Carreras, some of the best chronographs going around, like the early ones, and those designs in particular, they're awesome. And then you get these ones where they've sort of gone into the more modern sort of designs. Yeah, like they're okay, but they're just, when you compare them to, like the glass box or the actual, like that Carrera that I pulled up before, this is just doesn't even compare. It's just like, it's just like whatever.
Garbage, yeah.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't call it garbage, but it just looks like any other chronograph, It just
it's very generic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just generic. It just looks like anything.
Yeah, this is just a cash grab action, like really put the cheapest movement you can with the cheapest materials you can, and sell it off to the masses with the highest price you can.
Yeah. I mean, the Heuer Carreras are the classics, the original Heuer ones. Yeah. They're the ones you need to go for, the vintage ones.
Yeah.
There's some beautiful examples of Heuer Carreras, and that is for Jack Heuer did the design on those.
That was the golden age.
That really was the golden age of Heuer. Yeah, absolutely, JCB. Yeah.
So it's cool. I think that's I think he mentioned Frederick Arno. I think the young fella who was in charge of Tag Heuer.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did, or he must have had some good advisors because I think under his stewardship they brought back the glass box, and they've sort of focused on bringing out those Heuer designs, which is it's awesome, and I think that's injected a lot of um, enthusiasts' interest back into Tag Heuer. Designs like
Sure.
the Skipper and all that sort of stuff. That's their heritage. That's what they should be focusing on, not that sort of stuff.
But then he brings
Yeah.
up that split second for 140,000, which is totally ridiculous.
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. What I was saying before, JQH, like Tag Heuer, they've got so much different shit going on.
Mm.
Like there's so much weird stuff. Like it's a really weird brand. Like there's just a
It
lot
is.
of
They've got hundreds, literally about 100 watches over the past 30 years or so. They've brought out about 100 watches. I mean, that's too many to bring up today.
And I think, and I think that's why it's a sort of a polarizing brand. It's an interesting brand from that point of view where it doesn't really have a real identity. It's got all of this weird shit going on. But I'm just glad that they are still bringing back those designs, and someone at least is going, hey, we've got some cool shit. Let's focus on that and bring out these old Carrera designs and let's revive those.
Yeah, going from Heuer to Tag, Technique Avant-Garde, to LVMH, and who knows, they might be sold off again to someone else. And but they've each owners brought out so many different iterations of watches to try and make the mark and boost the brand and get market sales to get them do what they would honestly try and do with the company, and make it successful. But one watch has always been popular with Tag Heuer and Heuer has been the Monaco, and this is the Steve McQueen edition. £3,400 is asking for this 2006 model. It's automatic, 39mm, looks bigger than that. It's Heuer's iconic watch since 1969. 100 meters water resistant. Some horrible versions released this year, though. Some really horrible skeletonized
skeleton ones.
versions. But they won the GPHC in 2022 for the iconic watch prize for the Gulf Oil version. And this is a I don't know whether this is a Gulf Oil version, but it's a Steve McQueen version, Steve McQueen limited edition. But this just shows what the monster is. Basically, it's a very popular square watch, rectangular watch, whatever you want to call it. Square, yeah, square, not rectangular. What am I saying? But square watch, yeah, it's proved very popular amongst many people, and as I say, it won a GPHC for the iconic watch prize. So it's obviously an iconic piece, popularized by Steve McQueen in the film Le Mans. I don't know. Have you got anything to say about it, JCB? Are you a fan?
I think. This particular one, not really.
Not this particular one, maybe, but others.
obviously the original caliber 11 is, you know, that's an icon, and it's probably one of their top 2 or 3 watch designs, really. If you think about it, it's unreal. But look at that, you've got a square inside a cushion sort of case. It's not actually, the case isn't square itself. It's got these sort of round sides, and you've got these cool pushers on the side. Like it's a great watch. The only problem whenever I've tried it on, it's just been a little bit too thick, and I think the thickness is what makes it feel really big on the wrist. It's what put me off buying one, because I remember when I got married, my wife wanted to buy me a Monaco because she really likes the watch. She was like, "Oh, I love that Tag Heuer," and I ended up choosing this watch because I like this one better. But when I tried on the Monaco, it was too thick. That was my only beef with the watch. But yeah, and look, the Monaco's cool. They've brought out various reissues. They've brought out different calibers. They reintroduced like the original caliber 11, I believe, in the watch as well a little while ago. So yeah, look, it's a super cool watch. If it was about 2 mil thinner, I would have one now in my watch box. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you, JCB. They never look good on my wrist. I tried a couple of them, but you're probably right with the thickness. It wasn't really attractive on my wrist. However,
because I think Thomas, you said it was 39 mil or something.
39, yeah.
Yeah, like the size isn't. It's oh look, it could be a mil or two smaller. It's just that thickness that when you get it on your that thick square, it's just too bulky for me, at least anyway. And it sounds like for JQH as well. I think that's probably the reason why. Yeah, I reckon that's the reason why it hasn't been as popular as it should be. Because I mean, look at it. It's if you look at the original caliber 11 with the blue and white, like it's a killer piece. Like awesome, and even the black one is cool too. It's just the size, I reckon.
Yeah.
Tried it also several times. Every time I'm like trying to convince myself that it looks good, but it doesn't. And I have a 17 centimeter wrist, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not like they need to make it that big because of the movement or something. I'm not sure. JQH, you might know a bit more about the movement side of things, in terms of why it's so big. But maybe it's a 70s thing when it came out.
Yeah,
that's just.
I can only guess, but I think that is the time when they made that caliber 11 or 12, which was a combination. And I wanted to touch this a little bit because the race for the first automatic chronograph was between Seiko, between Zenith, and Heuer was in the camp, in a different camp, and they developed this crazy movement which had a micro rotor and then had a module attached that was covering the micro rotors, so you couldn't see the micro rotor, and so they were the alternative to the El Primero and the Seiko automatic chronograph back then, and I think that is the reason why this watch has the size just like it has.
Yeah, Pocket Watch Sam saying how I just can't love Tag. Not sure why none of their watches sing to me. Is that the modern day watches or the past watches, Patrick, or just all of them? Because I can understand that. It's fair enough. Fair comment.
For me personally, the round ones are more attractive. I like the Carreras. I like the Skipper in particular, but I also like the Monaco in carbon fiber. Should I pull that up?
Yeah, pull it up. Pull it up. Jonathan, when are you going live on a horology? Is that today or tomorrow? Or
yeah, tonight at 9:05, just like always. So I'm trying to cover Leica watches. The camera company has a very interesting watch, in my opinion. I would also like to cover the maker of those particular watches, and I've been trying to ask Abdul if he knows the company. The company name is Lehmann. Have you ever heard of them?
No. No.
Abdul, are you familiar with Lehmann?
I'll just put a link. So I'll just put a link to that in the chat.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
Lehmann, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
So Lehmann, he made his money by supplying the watch industry with high precision machines. That is his shtick, and that is his core competence. And he started a couple of years ago making his own watches, which have a big personality, to say it positively. I personally don't like the style, particularly the Lux. But he managed to issue that range of watches. And when Leica tried to start their own watch range, they reached out to Lehmann, and he's producing those watches together with Andreas Strehler. Lehmann developed a movement for them, and I think it's quite unique, quite neat, and yeah, I think there is a lot to discover that you don't see at face value.
Right. So check that out tonight, guys.
I'm still trying to find the Monaco
Elite Horology channel.
Yeah, and I hope I need support, because I think it will be a controversial topic, and
Yeah.
I hope that I can receive some guests who give me their opinions. I have my opinions about those Leica watches, but I would like to hear what others think of it. Thomas, I'm counting on you, and Abdul and JCB. Of course, you are very welcome to join.
So Dr.
Yeah,
Holmes says, like he uses a single eccentric banking pin like a Breguet. Is that correct, Jonathan?
What do you mean?
If you want to read the comment, I'm just reading the comment back to you.
Oh, okay.
Like
Leica uses a single banking pin. Oh, that is too high for me. Eccentric banking pin. So I'm not that deep into those details. All I can say that those are manufacturer movements with a very interesting finishing and with very interesting functions that you don't see on other watches. And they try to transport the Leica camera DNA into those watches. Not sure if they've been successful in doing that, but they're for sure unique, and they put really a lot of effort into those.
right.
So here is the Tag Heuer Monaco chronograph that I like, but I couldn't find.
That's awful.
Okay.
No, I'm with you, Jakey. Hey, Charlotte.
I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, that's cool.
But they made a carbon fiber one, if I remember correctly, but I can't find that at the moment at the Tag Heuer webpage. So I'm having
you know, there are watches. I think is this one PVD, because 11 grand.
Yes,
think,
that is PVD coated, but they used to make a carbon fiber one with an interesting color combination, but I can't see it here. Let's try to find carbon, maybe.
Maybe that's the one for 115,000, and you want that Max
No.
is wearing it. No?
One second. I think Monochrome covered it, so let me try to find it.
Well,
there are watches that I like to see somebody else wearing, but I would never buy, and this might be one of them. I would be like, that looks nice, but if somebody tells me, hey, you can have one, I'm like, no thanks, I don't want one.
So I think Pocket Watch Time is saying he doesn't love Tag, and then it just got me thinking. What I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and this picture just came up, and I just stopped it just stopped me dead in my tracks, and I was just looking at these two watches, just going like, look at these designs that they came out with back then. I know it might look boring to people, but as a chronograph fan, it's just like the simplicity, the beauty, the the balance, everything that about these watches, like they're timeless designs, you know. They're just so good to me anyway. I just look at that black dial one there with those big sub dials and that minute track running, you know, the white minute track running around the outside. It's just so there's such these designs were so good. If they focus on this sort of stuff and they, you know, if Tag looks back into their back catalog and brings out things like this, like they'll have big fans, you know. They'll be onto a winner. They've got so much stuff in their back catalog that they can be, you know, drawing inspiration from. If they just bring out things like this, and that's sort of what they're doing with the Skipper.
That's
and
what
the
they're doing
Rock.
now with the glass box. They've put out several different versions. Yeah.
Yeah, but this, I don't know what it was about these bi-compacts designs that just stopped me, man. I was just like,
Yeah.
bang, I messaged it to someone, I sent it to them, and I was like, I just, oh no, I just love these designs that they came out with, you know. Heuer chronographs back in the day, so good, so good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, every designer
Golden
will
age.
tell you I'm not dealing with that because that is nothing special, but it's just a timeless classic design. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found the watch that I was searching for. It's not the Monaco, it's a Monza.
Oh, it's a Monza.
Yeah,
Monza.
Monza.
Oh, the Monza, yeah.
Carbon
Yeah.
Monza. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of blue. I like the carbon fiber case, so you guys may find it ugly. I would wear that.
Yeah, I don't know, but carbon for me, generally, it just the material. It looks like it's I don't know. I just don't like the look of the material, to be honest. Because I see it in, you know, Zeniths and Doxers and that sort of stuff, and the material, it just doesn't look like a luxury material to me. You know, ceramic has that, you know, it's sort of shiny and sort of feels sort of luxury. When I look at carbon,
Hey,
I don't know, like you're spending so much money. It just looks too industrial for me. That's
hey,
my
Pocket Watch Time is your material man. He loves different materials on watches. He loves. He's got
yeah.
tantalum panerai. He's got carbon Doxer Army. He's got. I don't know whether he's got a 925 Tudor Black Bay or have you, Patrick? But he loves his different materials and ceramic Gloriato, I think he's got.
Can you just go back a sec, Jakey
Yeah,
H?
sure.
Let's just go back to the original
To the
Monza.
steel
Go
one?
back another one. Yeah, just stop there for a sec. Look at that black dial. That was the Monza that came
Monza,
out.
that's the Monza, yeah.
Yeah, that was the chrono that they released in the 2000s, I believe. And again, another great design. Just beautiful design, cushion case. I really, really dig that piece. I think it's fantastic. So I just wanted to say how much I like that design. I think it's a great one. The Tag Heuer Monza or the Heuer Monza line just doesn't get enough love.
Where do you think Tag should go in the direction? Are they going the right way these days, bringing out the watches they're bringing out from their sort of higher days? Or do you think they should come out with new models that we don't, you know, totally new models? Or are they doing good reviving the old models? What were the glory days of Tag Heuer? Do you think it was the 80s, 90s days, were the 2000 and things like that, or do you think the Heuer days were better? Well, let's just round up
Yeah.
and sort of have a little chat about that.
Look, I think it's a really, really interesting question, Thomas. And one of the things I was saying before is that Tag Heuer are doing a lot of stuff. They bring out a lot of things, and they experiment and all of that stuff. I think that's actually great. The fact that they're bringing out all of this stuff and they're doing it, and they've got the money to do it, and they can do it. Personally, I think that's great. It's not going to be for everyone, okay? Like aqua races or whatever the design, or that Monza that JQH showed. That's not going to be for everyone, but it's going to be for someone. Someone will like it. So I just sort of think that they should just just keep doing what they're doing, because they're doing some weird shit. They're doing some, they're focusing on the classics, and then they're taking those classics, and then they're twisting them up, with the modern twists, and putting them in carbon cases and skeletonizing them and stuff like
That's
that.
what I was going to say, that they're rehashing the old
Yeah.
designs. They're going to run out of ideas eventually, aren't they? If you just rehash the old designs.
Yeah, I think so. But they're still bringing out new stuff as well. Like I don't know, like the Aqua Racer line. They're sort of I wouldn't say it's new, but they're still.
Well, they've gone solar powered with the solar graph, haven't they? The solar graph.
That's what I mean. Yeah, they're still doing new things. So I don't know. I just think they should just keep doing what they're doing and experimenting. But I'd like to see them, just bring out some bring out some of those old Carrera designs that they used to have. Just give us those ones that they used to have back in the 60s, because they got it right back then. They don't need to mess with that. Just give us those ones, as well as all the new shit that you're doing. Like, yeah, keep doing what you're doing, but give us those old ones too.
I think they're in a difficult strategic position when they're trying to make something new, because every watchmaker has now a sport, a diverse watch in the price range of $2,000, $3,000. So it's going to be difficult, or it is difficult to compete. You're competing with Breitling, you're competing on the lower end with Longines, and with many other companies. So I think their strength is their classics. I agree with you there. The question is, how sustainable is that? Because the classics back in the 1980s almost brought them down, because they couldn't sustain on the classics anymore. And so the question is, how long are the classics fashionable and cool?
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Everything's cyclical, right? Classics were. Classics were classics back then they went out of favor, and they're coming back in now. How much longer is that going to be the case? Yeah, exactly. That's why I think that they keep just doing all this weird and wonderful random shit, because who knows where that's going to go and be the trend.
Yeah, they try a lot of stuff. If you can remember, also when the luxury smartwatches started to get out, Tag was one of the first ones to jump on the bandwagon. So I think Tag is one of the best like trend jumpers in the business. They find the trend and they jump on it. Swatch is selling a plastic watch for 300 euros. Okay, let's see how idiotic our customers can be and buy 1,500 for a plastic watch, and it works. They sell out, and whatever they try out, somehow they. But I feel like they have this rabbit rhythm. They jump 2 steps forward, and then, in my opinion, they come 1 step backwards, because they did last year's the Skipper chronograph, the black dialed chronograph with the curved. Crystal, beautiful ones, like really like the perfect releases they could do, and then they start releasing a 150 or 115,000 euro chronograph watch. Who's gonna buy a Tag for 115,000? Who's crazy enough? Maybe a drug dealer who likes Red Bull racing or something. I don't know, but that's definitely something very hard to understand.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that they can do it, that's sort of cool in itself, right? Like,
Exactly.
yeah, no one's gonna buy it, but hey, they did it,
Yeah.
and they've brought, they've got these, they've got this weird and crazy stuff, I used to be very much in the camp of I used to criticize watches and things that were ugly and that sort of stuff. But the fact that people are bringing out new stuff and they've got the money behind them to do it, then fucking good luck to them, mate. Like it's cool that they've got the balls and they've got the cash to be able to do it. Like not many companies are in that position. So the fact that they can do it and not give a fuck if people are going to buy it or not, I think that's kind of cool.
Can we talk about the moment where Tag Heuer pissed off Thierry Stern?
No. What was that? Tell us, man. What happened there?
Well, they brought out that tourbillon for under 20,000, and the story is that Thierry Stern called and he was furious.
Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
How could you do that? What do you think? What do you think, Thomas? What are your thoughts on Tag? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, it'd be lovely to have some of the 1960s Heuer revivals, but I think they're their own company now. I don't think they can really. Well, they are bringing back things like the Skipper from the Heuer catalogue, but I think they should really try and innovate some new stuff from being a new company, having a new label to the brand, the Tag Heuer brand. But then again, that's just, they're not even Tag Heuer anymore. They're not Technique Avant-Garde. They're LVMH. So it's not like they call themselves LVMH Heuer.
Good idea.
It's a bit weird. I mean, so the roots of the designs are, I suppose, Heuer. It is the Heuer company, so they are licensed to take those designs of Heuer watches. So maybe it isn't up to them to just look forward, and maybe it will be revivals all day long. But I would like them to maybe be as adventurous as Tag were and bring out new designs and not just like the 2000s, like the Kyriums, like the all the watches we've seen, the 1000s, the Monins, the Formula Ones, all the different ones we've seen in the show today. And it'd be really nice to see them innovate some new designs and some fresh designs and bring out some different things rather than just be a revival brand.
Can I ask the panel this? Would you like to see Tag Heuer bring out a dress watch line?
I would like to see Heuer bring up a dress up line, not Tag Heuer. So if Heuer made a dress watches line with only Heuer branding and like the chronographs you showed us, maybe even two handers but the same style, I would definitely be interested in one if I'm buying a dress watch, because Tag, I don't know, I feel Tag made so many cheap watches, and that the brand name Tag is not somehow luxurious anymore, let's say. But the name Heuer somehow for me is more, it's better somehow. I don't know why.
Yeah, good point.
I can't see making.
I was just thinking just then about, okay, if think about Tag Heuer, they've got the diver watch category covered. They've got the chronograph, race watch sort of category covered, and that might be also maybe aviation, maybe, I don't know. they've sort of got the sports watch category. That's sort of what they own, or that's where they live in. They don't really live in the dress watch category at all. That's the one
it's
area
not
that they
wheelhouse. I don't think it's a wheelhouse dress watch category. I don't think it's a wheelhouse. I mean, with the SEL, with the Sports Elegance line, they try to get an elegant watch, and maybe the dress watch would work for them. But maybe we don't know. But
you know what I'm saying, maybe that's what they should innovate in. Maybe that's where they should go. Maybe possibly. Well,
what do you think, Jonathan?
I think the difficulties with a dress watch would be, first of all, they don't have an own movement, so it will be a Me Too product.
Yeah.
Their strength is the chronographs, and particularly their own movement. I think unless they don't have their own movement, this kind of endeavor would not make sense, because you have another Me Too product that is not really convincing.
Yeah,
and then it's away from their DNA, because in the old Jack Heuer times, Heuer was a sports-oriented company. They lived motorsports, they lived athletics. That is where they come from. So it will be difficult to make the bridge to elegant watches. But who knows? Maybe it's they come up with a sensational design of a dress watch and can slap in a generic movement, and it works. So it's certainly a gap that is open, but it will be very difficult to make it convincing what they're doing.
Because I think sort of like a lot of companies sort of, they stick in their lane, like they've got a lane and they sort of stick to it. I don't know, maybe not. Like, think about Omega. They've got a scattergun approach as well. They've got all sorts of watches, right? Even Rolex, they've got a dress watch, they've got chronographs, they've got sports watches. I sort of feel like, and even would the Breitling fit into that? I don't know, maybe not. They don't really have a dress watch, I don't think.
I mean, they have the tourbillon, so they could make a dress watch with a tourbillon without a chronograph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
For a cheap price.
Yeah, like
sort of
15K.
feel like, because Tag has got this sort of scattergun. They seem like they've got everything except the dress watch category. It just seems like a bit of a.
Yeah, I think one category of the dress watches that actually Tag could compete in very well is the dress watch that has a sporty feel. Like, you have 100 meters water resistance, screw down crown, sleek lugs construction. Just a simple dial, maybe, no date. And I think they could do that really well, like with a Me Too movement, like you say, GKH, from LVMH, there's a lot of movements that they can carry around the companies. So I think they could do it if they had it in their mind to compete in that segment,
Yeah. Anyway, good little chat. Good to have a little sort of recap at the end of what we think about the brand and what we thought. And thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. And please check out the Horology channel tonight or this morning, wherever you are in the world. It's going to be an interesting show with Jonathan, and I'm sure it'll be a good one. Leica watches. Don't know much about them. I'm going to try and do a bit of homework on them and join Jonathan on the panel tonight. So if you want to join, Abdul, that'd be great. And it'll be a good one. And
don't set the heart too high. You guys know that I'm running that show, so it's gonna be a disaster, just like always.
Yeah, so as I say, thanks to everyone in the chat, and we'll just have a quick advert. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care. See you
Thanks,
next
everybody.
time.
Bye bye.
See you everyone.
Bye bye.